Welcome to Better Together with your hosts, EmmaLee and Jennifer Morrow. When we all work together, we are stronger and can accomplish more for the kingdom of God. And now, here are the hosts of Better Together, EmmaLee and Jennifer Morrow.
Good morning, everybody. Unless when you're listening to this, it's not morning, but I'm Jen Morrow, and
I'm EmmaLee. Welcome back, friends.
Yes, and we have exciting news.
We do. Habemus Papam. We have a pope.
We're recording this about less than 24 hours
Right.
after the new pope has been announced and elected, and it was pretty amazing.
Oh my goodness, Pope Leo the 14th.
Mhm.
So we were going to talk about where we were when we found out,
Yep.
and I was literally driving home. I had the coverage from EWTN playing for, ever since the white smoke, and I was like, okay, it's coming. And when they said his name and they said that he was from America, my jaw just literally dropped. It was open for like 5 minutes. Are
Absolutely.
you kidding me?
Yeah,
I didn't see that coming.
I know, right? And it's funny because I'm sure you've seen it too, like on social media or TV. They've been doing these funny things with the Cardinals where it's like almost like baseball announcements, or it's like they got their arms crossed and they're all AIs and they're like nodding at the TV. So he was not one of the baseball cards, right?
No. So I know you're not supposed to bet on the papal
Right.
election, but
Exactly.
but that was not one that most people saw coming.
Mhm.
So but very, very exciting. And so moving to watch the reaction of the crowd when he came out. Every time there's a new pope, it's a very positive reaction. But just seeing him visibly moved, when he was giving his blessing and speaking to the world, I really personally connected with that.
Yeah. And then you went home and family was excited because your
Oh, yeah.
husband's a deacon. So
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. So they were the ones who were texting me initially when, white smoke. So 'cause I was in the middle of cooking and I didn't get a chance to watch the whole morning. So it was, it was a family affair. And I think they
Aw.
announced it at school. So my son was at school when that happened, an hour, I think, before school let out. So
Wow.
yeah.
Did they
I
get to
didn't-
watch it on TV there at school?
I don't know if they had the TV going,
Okay.
but I think they got the announcement over the intercom and everything. And I know in their old school over in Princeton, the grammar school, they had several classrooms had it running. They're like, yeah, there's no learning happening today.
Nope.
Where this is a historic moment.
It is actually it is learning. It's
It
real
is.
life learning.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But we're putting the math aside for now, and
Right.
and they did like a whole papal election, their own, and they had like ballots tallied on the wall of all these.
Oh.
I think they had 14 cardinals up on the wall, and then each class got to vote, and it was just kind of fun to see, And then there were a lot of people who actually had picked him.
Really?
Yeah, very surprising.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe because he was American, maybe they were like, yay, United States. I don't know.
Could be.
But,
Definitely.
but I also heard somewhere, and then I went and double checked it, that yesterday, May 8th, was actually Blessed Fulton Sheen's birthday, right?
Oh.
Yeah. And so it coincided with the new pope.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I thought that was a nice nod to communications, and hopefully he's our new pope will be a wonderful communicator. I think knowing 5 languages
Yeah.
will really be helpful in that regard.
And I was listening to some commentators, and actually a priest in the Diocese of Camden, we were talking about it too, that this is, you're talking about communication, this is really the first papal election in this age of technology when it's Instagram, Facebook, everything, when everything's, Pope Francis, yes, right? Him too, but
Right.
not like it is now,
It's
where
really
everything is
took off.
instantaneous and how we
Yeah.
can see everything. Even when I was watching on the TV, with, the white smoke and the election, the image is so clear. It's like you're there, right? I was like,
Right.
my goodness, this is clear. It's clearer here on this TV than if I was actually there.
Yeah, and then if you had tried to do that in 2013 with everybody, I don't know that maybe I'm, my memory is probably distorted, but I don't remember the secular coverage as intensely.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's just the age that we're living in this moment,
Yeah.
but it was kind of phenomenal that so many people who may not be of Catholic faith were tuned in and interested and reacting. So that was exciting. And then alongside that, you have all the secular press reactions and their interpretations of, where does he align and who, they're kind of politicizing it and just kind of taking, where does he stand on these issues? And I was looking for some of the Catholic reactions too, and one that I came across really resonated with me, and that was, that this isn't a political election the way that our political leaders, our governmental leaders are. Even though he is a governmental figure,
Right.
he's the leader of the church, and give him a minute. Like, this isn't, let's see how he does in the first 100 days, and what things is he going to accomplish. It's, this is a spiritual moment, and it changes you, I think, in the way that a sacrament would change you, spiritually. So he's got special graces from the office of the pontificate. That he's probably going to be taking that in, and we don't know. We don't know where the Holy Spirit is going to lead things. So I think we should just be hopeful and pray for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It was so. So we were in the office yesterday, or the Catholic Star Herald. We're in the middle of a communications meeting. It was the whole staff, but like 3 of us had, we had it on our phones, like Smoke Watch 2025. And so, and then all of a sudden the meeting was just coming to an end, and then my boss was like, "Oh my gosh, white smoke," and then we all bolted because we had to go jump into action.
Right.
Yeah, to put it online and put it on social media and get the live stream video going and all that. So again, talking about the communications, it's you don't just sit around and say, okay, who's it going to be? We jumped right into action, and I'm sure, the Monitor did too, and all the Catholic organizations. But then it was fascinating because we're very blessed. We have Bishop Dennis Sullivan in our building. And so he was upstairs having lunch, and we all crowded around him and watched the election reveal or whatever together. So it was fascinating because when the cardinal that came out to is that the cardinal that came out to announce it?
Yeah, I think it's a cardinal deacon, or he's like has particular pecking order of who comes out and does the announcement.
So he came out to announce it, and obviously, the name doesn't ring a bell right away.
Right, because it's in Latin.
Right, and Bishop Sullivan's like, he's American. Like, he was, the tone in his voice, too. And we're all like, what? And then, like, everybody got, we all got chills. And then immediately, because now what, you wait a little while longer for him to come out onto the balcony for the Pope. It was such a blessing because, well, first off, going back to the announcement, not only that, when he kept speaking, Bishop was translating for us all. Like, we didn't even have to ask him, right? He just jumped into translating for us. And then when he went back in and we were waiting for the Pope to come back on the balcony, Bishop Sullivan was telling us all about him. I don't think he's met him personally. I don't remember, but he was, telling us about his background in Peru and that he was a missionary priest and a missionary cardinal, basically, as well, and his, ties to Villanova and the Augustinians. So while we're waiting, it was awesome because we're getting all this background from our bishop who knows it now. As journalists, we're all writing it down because I'm thinking, okay, who can I call immediately after I get out of here to go interview? Because we have St. Augustine Prep School in our diocese, and Villanova's around the corner. Yeah. So we had a lot of people to interview. We have a priest who is the head of the NAC in Rome, so he was there. So I know I'd be reaching out to him. And so, and then Pope comes out on the balcony and he starts speaking, and Bishop Sullivan's the best, and he was like, all right, don't listen to who's translating this. Who's translating this is not right. Let me translate it for you. And so he was, translating for us.
Oh, that's great. So you got the accurate.
It was, right. It was like, once in a lifetime experience. I mean, it always is, no matter who. You're like, oh my gosh, this is.
Right, because this doesn't happen every 4 years, or every 2 years or something. This is, you never know when you're going to have the next opportunity to meet another leader of the church. So, yeah, it really was historic. And we have a special responsibility as Catholic journalists to get it right and to get on top of it. So I kind of felt that pressure right away to, okay, I got to learn as much as possible as soon as possible. So, because people start looking to you as a resource immediately. And so it's like, well, I don't have boots on the ground in Rome, but, I have outlets I can research and, was looking online to find out, okay, where is he from? Where has he been? And I loved that interview with his brother.
Oh my gosh, that was a laugh riot.
Just seems very down to earth. But my favorite part, John was pointing out that he said, yeah, I used to have him come out here and help me clean the leaves out of the gutter because I can't reach him. He's like, I can't do that anymore.
My coworker, I mentioned this the other day or yesterday. my coworker John Galett says, he asked Bishop, he's like, "Hey, do you think the new pope is going to bring deep dish pizza to Italy?"
Oh, wow.
And we're like, I can't wait. Even Bishop laughed. We were all laughing about that. But also, it was neat because Bishop was giving us a little history also about who Pope Leo the 13th was and about
helpful,
some of his
sure.
legacy. And one thing that I haven't heard mentioned anywhere yet, or maybe it's just because I'm not looking in the right places, but Pope Leo the 13th was the one who wrote St. Michael the Archangel
Yes.
prayer.
Yes.
And that's something to unpack too. I mean, there's
Right.
so much about
He was one
Pope
of the
Leo
greats.
the 13th to
Right.
dive into. New encyclicals that if we've never heard of to
Right.
jump
Rerum
into.
Novarum,
Right.
like the Catholic social teaching.
I am so jealous that you know how to pronounce all of these words.
Well, I had to look it up for my 8th grade catechism class like a couple months ago, so
Okay.
it's top of mind. But it was just, oh, wow, that's so great. He chose a name that it's got some solid Catholic history behind it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how he's going to build on that.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Me
It'll
too.
be amazing.
So everybody, check out your local Catholic press to see
Please.
how, they're reporting it as well, diving into, Pope Leo the 13th, Pope Leo the 14th, and more.
And I'm sure you'll have a special issue of your publication in a couple of weeks or in a week, or
Yeah, we
you
go
have
to
something coming up.
we go to press every day this month. So we just finished our vocations issue, and the next one we have a ordination. So we have 2 back-to-back ordinations, and we have the Pope. So pick up the Catholic Star Herald, and also check out Talking Catholic because we did a breaking news podcast. Mike Walsh, myself, and Father
I have to go
Joshua
back and
Nevitt.
listen to that.
Yeah, we Father Joshua Nevitt, our vocations director, one of our vocations directors, is really tapped into that. So he's kind of an expert, our local expert, and kind of
Right.
jumped on with us to talk about what all this could mean and what's going on with the Monitor.
Well, we had just finished our commemorative issue of Pope Francis and also our Easter coverage. And then no sooner did this go to press, then we were like, okay, we have to anticipate the conclave. It's very likely it could finish in a couple of days. So I think within the next 4 days or so, we might be going to a press with probably a smaller issue, but it will be an issue exclusively on Pope Leo the 14th.
So you're going to put out a special issue?
Right. So normally we wouldn't have another issue in the same month, but
Right.
because of this historic occasion,
Aw.
so we're pulling all of our resources together. And
Wow.
it should be exciting.
Can't wait to read it.
Yeah, and trying to get some local reaction. I went to a Pope party last night.
All right, I'm a little
So,
jealous. What
right.
does a Pope party entail?
So there's a wonderful Catholic owner of a restaurant nearby, Leonardo's in Lawrenceville, and it's Rob Pluta, and he opened his restaurant for free food and drinks for anybody who wanted to come and celebrate the
Oh my
papal
gosh.
election. And just some great people gathered, lots of smiles, lots of celebration, lots of music. So
Oh, that's great. That sounds like a blast.
yeah, it was fun. It was like, this is kind of like a Catholic tailgate.
I like that a lot.
Right. So we Catholics know how to celebrate.
Absolutely.
And speaking of celebrations, we've got a big one coming up that we're going to talk about for the rest of our show today.
Yeah, so we're going to take a break, but, come back. We're going to be talking about the 150th anniversary of the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Hammonton, and we'll have some experts on this subject on, so check back. Let's take a break. See you in a minute, everybody.
Right.
Bishop Robert Barron on the priesthood.
For the first 1,000 years, there were married priests within the church. There still are married priests under certain circumstances, so it's not absolutely necessary. However, I'm a supporter of it, and I wouldn't want us to move in the direction of kind of optional, some do it, some don't. I get it. And I go back to Paul, and it's Paul's words that are actually in the ordination ritual, about an undivided life, a total gift. I have nothing but the greatest respect for married people. In fact, when I hear the term heroic sanctity, when they talk about saints, I think of parents right away, who give themselves to their kids. But there's something, I think, pure and simple and undivided about the life of celibacy. It's a radical conformity unto the celibate Christ. Why am I celibate? My ultimate answer, because Jesus was, and I'm conformed to him.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
Dr. Simon Greenleaf was a Harvard Law professor. He wanted to debunk Christianity. He thought everything these people believe rests on their claim that Jesus rose from the dead, but that wouldn't even hold up in court. So he started writing about it, and he became a Christian. Why? He eventually concluded, what's going to put someone away in court? An eyewitness. What if you have a bunch of eyewitnesses? Jail. What if the eyewitnesses are all willing to die for what they saw? Case closed. That's what we have with the rising of Jesus from the dead. Not just people dying for a belief system. These people died for something way more than that. They died for something they saw. Big difference. St. Peter was crucified. He said, I'm not worthy to die like my Lord. Crucify me upside down. St. Bartholomew was skinned alive. It makes no sense to do that for a lie. The resurrection of Jesus, God conquering death, it's the best news in history. And the best part about it is, it's all real. This is Chris Stefanik from RealLifeCatholic.com on EWTN Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Better Together. I'm Jen Morrow.
I'm EmmaLee Italia.
So what we are going to be talking about today is the 150th anniversary of the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Hammonton. And with us today, we have Father David Rivera, who's the pastor of St. Mary of Mount Carmel Parish in Hammonton. And I believe also Nicholas Fognano. Nick, you can tell me if I missaid your name. And you're a member of the 150th Mount Carmel Feast Committee. Welcome.
Correct.
I got
Correct.
it? Yes. Very exciting to hear.
Oh, welcome onto the show with us, gentlemen.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, so tell us a little bit about this festival. For those who have not heard of it before, what exactly is it and some of the history?
I'll let Nick, this is Father David, I'll let Nick start because he wrote a nice, booklet. I don't know, with the size of it. It's more than a booklet, more than a pamphlet and less than a full historical research on the feast.
Okay.
The booklet is called Faith and Tradition, and so go ahead, Nick. Yeah.
So the feast started in 1875 when Italian immigrants took a photo or a painting of Our Lady and processed through the fields, and that grew into, when the church opened in 1886, into an all-day and then an all-week Italian festival and religious feast. And it's been going on now for, this is the 150th year. And this year we'll also be celebrating a canonical coronation. It was approved by Pope Francis just recently. And we have events going on all week of July 16th.
Now, the festival's on July 16th, but there have been events, going on for quite a few months now, yes?
So, yes, let's add a little more detail to the Mount Carmel Society was founded by this first group of men, three founders, Antonio Capelli, Luigi Vuoto, and Emanuele Persico. And that society is responsible actually for organizing the procession itself. And they've been an independent society, which is, customary, especially in European Catholic context, right? You have lots of patronal feasts, and you would have a group dedicated to organizing the feast that works with the parish, but often might be separate. They might call them a confraternity, for example. During Holy Week in Spain, for example, you see this in a very strong way. All the ones doing the processions for the Holy Week with the different images.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Mount Carmel Society is in that same vein. And so the parish, the society predates the parish by at least 5 or so years. In 1880-ish, I think I read here in one of our history books, we had the first Mass and activities here in Hammonton for Catholics, or became an independent parish. So every, several years, of course, there's an anniversary year, and there's different things, that things go on. And for this 150th, both the Mount Carmel Society and the parish have had different events, and we've tried to be coordinated. The church has been doing more, focusing on spiritual activities, and the society has other types of activities. They had a kickoff dinner. They had a documentary made. They had their own historical booklet made that we have here. They had looking at like a sock hop type event coming up now with bands. So they have their own type of activities that are taking place. The parish, for its side, has organized a monthly devotion to Our Lady of Mount Carmel leading up to the feast that started, it was January, I think we started. I've invited young priests from the diocese to come and preach on different aspects of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, Carmelite spirituality. And that's been going on. Also, the parish commissioned Kathleen Fluth, a lyricist who wrote the hymn for the Eucharistic Revival, to write a new hymn for us. And then we commissioned Frank La Roca, a Catholic composer who has written, church music and composed masses, to compose a new mass setting for us.
I've listened to some.
150th.
Sorry, this is EmmaLee. I was listening to some of his music earlier, and it's absolutely beautiful, sacred music. And so it's amazing that you were able to get him to write a specific mass for the festival. And you said that's going to debut on the feast?
Correct. On July 16th at 2 o'clock is when I think we're going to be using the music throughout the day, but the full version of it will be at the 2 o'clock Mass because I asked them to have an instrumentation to it, mostly brass, probably because I like brass. And, how do I say this politely? They didn't volunteer. I had to pay them. We commissioned them to do this, And so he was excited to do it, but he was like, okay, and here's the cost. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. All right. So to any of your listeners out there, Father has a 150th parish fund to help cover costs for, because we're getting a chalice made for the event. We're getting new vestments for the Mass, a whole complement of things,
Wow.
And also we're getting a crown made, as Nick Fagnano mentioned. So that's an interesting story. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to, if you could tell our listeners a little bit more about that canonical coronation by papal decree. I don't think most of us are familiar with what that is.
Sure. So Nick and I will tell this story together. So I was aware that images of Our Lady are crowned. Right? We've seen them that way. What I did not realize is that there would be some kind of, and I've heard of like Our Lady of Fatima or Lourdes, the popes visiting them and crowning them, and of course we crown Mary in May, right? Right. What I didn't know was that there was an actual petition you can make to the Holy Father to have your particular image crowned if you met certain criteria. So, Nick, do you want to talk about how you discovered that and bringing it up?
Yeah, so I had gotten a book that was called The Crowning of a Queen, and it was about the canonical coronation that was approved in 1904 for Our Lady of Mount Carmel in East Harlem, New York, which was an Italian-American stronghold that was under the direction of the Palatine priests who had been assigned here at one time. And the canonical coronation was approved by Pope Leo XIII right before he died. And the feast was only 22 years old when it was approved. And so I thought, if they have 22 years, we're coming to a century and a half. It would almost be a sure thing if we could make an application for our statue here, and that's inspired me to write the history booklet. and asked Father David about making the application.
And so, in terms of what exactly is it, it's basically the Pope offering his specific blessing to our image and recognizing the longstanding devotion of the people to that particular image in that certain place. So part of the process is making the case that this is not a sort of fly-by-night thing, that it's a regional thing. It's not just, they don't want to just pat us on the head here in Hammonton. What they're recognizing is the genuine devotion of people of an area, based on a specific image that people come, as a shrine situation. We're not technically a shrine, not that I know of. All of the decree came back saying to the shrine of Our Lady of Carmel, Hammonton. So I don't know if they accidentally were made a shrine at the same time. I don't know. But there's a whole process for that, too, to become considered a shrine. That's not something you just can say.
But how beautiful. That was probably one of the last things that Pope Francis was able to do before he passed away. So lovely that came through for you.
Yeah, I think so. That was definitely like a month. Was it a month before he got sick?
Yeah.
Right? Before he got really sick or something?
It's almost exactly what happened in East Harlem. The Pope Leo XIII granted the coronation. He died 2 months later.
Wow.
And same thing here. And ironically, the new Pope is named Leo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. There's a
lot of parallels there.
Yeah. So essentially, at the Mount Carmel dinner, like kicking off their celebrations, happened. Was that in March?
Yes.
Yeah, March.
Yeah.
We had just gotten approval like a week before the dinner or something like that. And so I told very few key people. First, the president of the Mount Carmel Society, his vice president, Nick Fagnano, of course. And I kept it very close to my chest because I wanted the Mount Carmel Society to be the first to publicly know, because they're the ones that kept this going all this time. Of course, with parish support, it's, they're independent, but, and again, when you're a Catholic group, you're independent and you're not, right? So spiritually, you're connected, even if otherwise you're not, And so there's a very long partnership that has its ups and downs over the years, but there's a long history there. But I wanted them to be the first to know. So at their dinner, I made the announcement. And when I was explaining it, it's like, we've been doing this here for a long time, and in our region, people have known about it. But now, the Vatican knows about it, and now we're in some book over there at the Vatican officially recognizing, your continuity, your fidelity to all of this,
And I don't think we mentioned yet, but this is the longest running Italian religious festival in the United States. Is that correct?
Supposedly.
That's our story.
I agree. We're sticking to
Right.
it. That's how we do things in the Diocese of Camden. We are sticking to it.
It's one of those things, like, I don't know exactly how specific we're getting with the title in order to be, like, the first or the longest. I mean, when you start adding things like continuous, right?
Right.
So there's probably have been older ones, but they stopped and they started or something like that. But this has not stopped. Even during COVID, we didn't stop.
It's actually gotten bigger.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In certain ways, yeah. I mean, I would say like the heyday in terms of participation, though, was probably, would you say, in the 70s, 60s?
I'd say the 30s to the 60s.
30s to the 60s.
Wow.
I mean, you had in 1 week maybe 200,000 come through in a week, the whole week.
100 buses would come down on July 16th.
Itself, yeah.
And that was before the great big 150th anniversary. So today, this year is going to be probably even bigger.
And the truth is that religiosity has gone down. We all know that, right? We experience it on our parishes and all this stuff. And so in the end, while we do expect greater numbers this year, and we're working towards that, in the end for us, it's about the fidelity to the devotion, right? And that's what we're celebrating. The fidelity of the devotion of the people whoever shows up, right? And of course, you have people that show up to these things for the food or for the music. But for the people who really are here for the devotion to our Blessed Mother, that's why we're making all these sacrifices in the end, right?
It's a great evangelical opportunity to,
Yeah.
pull people in with something that's, visually or, sensory attraction. And then maybe they want to go deeper. Well, why did this start? Why Our Lady of Mount Carmel? I was actually looking online for a little bit of background on Our Lady in this particular image, in this particular devotion, and just, started going to the brown scapular that was presented to St. Simon by Our Lady on July 16th in 1251. I don't know if you want to talk about any of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in that particular devotion.
Our Lady of Mount Carmel is an ancient devotion connected to the Carmelite order. And actually, originally, she was called Our Lady Star of the Sea. So there's a connection between that title, Star of the Sea, and Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel itself is in the Holy Land.
Right.
And this is where the Carmelite order started. And they would traditionally consider themselves founded by Elijah the prophet because of his connection to that mountain and life of prayer in the Holy Land. But their actual founding, obviously, is in the Christian era. And so the particular devotion to our Blessed Mother by that order that lived on Mount Carmel, so they began to call her Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And, they have a long history. And you already mentioned St. Simon's Stock, which is why the 16th specifically, the Feast of the Scapular is very much connected. I mean, it's one and the same. And in the United States, what's interesting is that Our Lady of Mount Carmel has become strongly associated with Italian-American parishes. Sort of like St. Patrick, obviously, we connected to, Italian-American, or say Stanislaus. If you hear that, it's Polish, parish or something like that, So Our Lady of Mount Carmel is very, very strongly connected to Italian-American parish experience in the United States. Now, the Palatine Order came to the United States to work with Italian-American immigrants, at least on the East Coast. And so they were the ones running this church in Harlem, too, at the time, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So they also are the ones that run the St. Jude Shrine down in Baltimore. And they had other parishes at that time. They had many parishes. So they had a lot to do as well with bringing people to the feast from all their parishes that were Italian-American and their network of Italian-American connections here in the United States, along with the Order of Lucy Filippini, the Filippini sisters, who had been in Hammonton since, early 1900s.
Early 1900s.
Yeah. And their second house in the United States was here in Hammonton. And they also had a lot to do with, bringing people and being connected to the feast. I guess through their network of convents and, sisters helping out. And they're an Italian-American order. An Italian order that came to work with Italian-Americans here in the Northeast. I think their mother house is in Morristown, I believe. Not Morristown, but Morristown, whatever, the one that's up more north. I always can get confused.
Morristown.
There's a connection of families and immigrants from different cities bring people down.
Yeah.
And that's where you had this connection. And it was Italian immigrants that brought in the big numbers, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Think about sort of like Our Lady of Guadalupe. Sort of, right? The one thing I would say that, and, Nick will talk about this a little bit, is that really the patron of the people, the Italians that came here to Hammonton really is Saint Anthony of the Desert, because many of the Italians here were from Sicily and from one town called gesso, right? So, and the patron of their church was actually St. Anthony the Abbot. So we actually have a St. Anthony the Abbot Society here, and a statue of St. Anthony the Abbot, which you rarely see in any Catholic church.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had a lot of Italians from Messina, Sicily area, and there the Our Lady of the Assumption is celebrated. Actually, Our Lady of the Letter, there's a whole story behind that. So we have an Assumption Society here as well. So it's not just the Mount Carmel Society. There used to be 3 carnivals a year here. The kickoff was St. John Society, St. John the Baptist. You had St. John the Baptist Society. Then there was Our Lady of Mount Carmel, which was the top of the mountain, and then to bring us home was our Assumption Society procession and festival in August. So there was a lot going on here in that way.
That was a hubbub of activity.
Right.
It was the big
And
thing.
so much.
You didn't have all the you didn't have all the distractions that you have today.
Sure.
So that was a big thing in the summer.
Isn't it beautiful, though, how like all of these different waves of people from different countries who have come, who've immigrated to America, have brought their Marian traditions, their Catholic traditions, and really established that as an American fixture. I mean, I just love that every culture, it seems, has its own recognition of Our Lady and a way of promoting her and recognizing the graces that she gave them on their journeys here and how to establish their new life here in the New World.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's my understanding that Italy and Sicily's interest in Our Lady of Mount Carmel was the result of when Spain controlled Italy and Sicily, and the Carmelites were the Catholic advisors for the King and Queen of Spain, and that's where the devotion to Our Lady of Mount Carmel actually started, is through Spain to Italy.
Oh, interesting.
You know, we were talking about, this history too. I'm sure every year you see familiar faces coming back and, from all over the area, or maybe even different states. Does that continue?
Not as much. I don't remember as much today as before, but there used to be a time, especially with the Italian immigrants, you'd see them every year like clockwork. You almost expected them to come down. And some were people who were like street performers and people that really stood out to you. And they'd be coming down for 50, 60 years.
Wow.
It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty common to hear, especially in Hammonton, 90-year-olds say, "I've only missed one day of the procession in my whole life."
Oh my gosh,
That's commitment.
That's amazing.
And that was because I was in Vietnam or I was, somewhere else, you know what I mean, or World War II or something like that,
Yeah.
It's the feast and the procession that's developed and changed over the years. Statues have been added. Now it's like a whole procession of saints. When was the first year that all the saints actually went out? Was that because that wasn't from the beginning?
That was when the 1919 church was open, and they added all the additional statues. And then he went from like 2 or 3 statues to 9 or 10, because they actually bought more statues to put in the new church.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things I always love seeing in the photos is all the procession of all of the different statues that are going through the street and people walking alongside them, especially, if you have a devotion to St. John or Mary. I always think that's really beautiful.
And it looks like, so the feast week itself is going to run from July 14th through the 19th with things going on every single day. But leading up to that, there are several other kind of, introductory
and
occasions.
some big ones in this month in May.
Right. Did you want to talk about some of those so that people don't miss them before the July celebration?
Yeah, well, the Mount Carmel Society, let me grab their, they have,
I feel
give me a second. I'm just going to pull up their website because they have their poster on there. So they're going to have Mount Carmel celebration, spring music celebration. When is it?
I see there's a date. There's May 17th and May 30th. Look like two
There
big
we go.
events.
May 30th, that's the Mount Carmel Society spring fling type thing. They're going to have Frankie Avalon.
Oh, my goodness.
So these are bands that play that kind of music,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can check that out on their website. Now, in terms of the parish, we have commissioned the choir from the National Basilica in Washington to come up and sing a Marian concert on Friday, May 30th, here at St. Joe's Church.
I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're excited about that. I'd be honest with you, I've been emailing back and forth with Peter Latona. He's the conductor of that choir. I don't even know what the program is yet. He's working on it, putting it together. So hopefully by the mid next week we'll have that finalized so we can put our booklet together. But I know they have a whole repertoire of beautiful sacred music of different varieties. And obviously it's going to be a Marian theme for this concert. So we figured this would be a nice opportunity in May to do something a little, big to lead up to the festivities. So we're looking forward to that very, very much.
Father,
So
you'll be
that's,
excited to know EmmaLee and I were talking, and EmmaLee said, "That's my anniversary. I'm getting my husband to take me up to this concert." Or down to the concert.
Right?
Well,
I'm looking forward to
one of
that.
my concerns was, can I fill the church for this, And now my concern is, I hope I have enough room in the church.
Yeah,
for
I
this,
bet.
Well, that's a good
And,
point. Are tickets being sold, or is it just first come,
No,
first serve?
it's free. We're going to take a collection. It's a free will offering. It's our way of celebrating, and we just want people to enjoy. It's to bring people in to the excitement. And this is not a fundraiser. It's it's just for devotion and love of the Blessed Mother. It's in May, and it's a build up to the feast.
We should give people the address and the time too.
Yes, it's St. Joseph Church, 226 French Street, Hammonton, 08037. It's important because people often confuse Hammonton with Hamilton.
Oh, sure.
And yeah, so
Different region.
Hammonton. And but the parish is St. Mary of Mount Carmel, but the church building is St. Joseph Church.
Right. And the
So-
concert is at 7 p.m. I have.
7 p.m. Yeah, it's going to be about an hour-ish, or so. It's not going to be a super long concert. I don't know if I should have made it longer. I don't know. I'll talk
No,
to
it's
these
just
people.
right. Gives people time. They can go down and maybe get some dinner
Well, I
beforehand.
was going to say, if you don't know Hammonton,
Yeah,
Hammonton's
there's
a
plenty
beautiful
of,
town. With,
decent restaurants here
Yeah.
in town. There's Eliano's, there's Marcello's, there's Rocco's Townhouse, there's the wine bar. What's that? The Anada's wine bar.
Everybody's looking up
The
Hamilton
Maple-
now and saying, "Where am I going to eat before the concert?"
yeah, Hammonton has great restaurants. A lot of
that's not a
Italian.
problem. There's
Yeah.
plenty of places, and if you like Mexican, there's also a bunch of Mexican places too.
Oh
See?
boy.
So EmmaLee, you can go have dinner and then go for your anniversary and then go see the concert.
I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to say this is what we're doing.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, you might appreciate that. Actually, that good. I don't have to plan anything.
Right. It's all set.
I think you're right.
It's like,
How
thank
true.
God. All right, I don't have to worry about that.
And then
And
in
the concert's
June.
free, so you doesn't have to even pay for that.
Oh, yeah, good.
Boy, you're really selling it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I'm just saying he's not going to argue.
There you
No,
go.
probably not.
Probably not.
You were going to say there's
So no,
something
we're
in June.
excited about that. That's going to be a nice event. Hopefully, it's a full house.
Mhm.
And it's nice because I've been to some of these nice concerts in Philly, and I'm always surprised that the church is not full or the place is not full. And you have these beautiful, quartets or ensembles playing these beautiful classic and sacred music, and you hardly see people there.
And And it's a shame
it's
because,
like,
I mean, these
huh?
spaces were designed before great concert halls, like for sacred music. So, to have that opportunity to hear it in that space
In a
is
church, yeah.
really unique.
Yeah, no, we're excited, and hopefully, we have a good showing of people, and I'm going to live stream it as well. I better talk to them and make sure I'm allowed to. But my intent was to live stream it because you know what, the truth is, I understand. I'm going to come, and I need to have a recording of it myself anyway.
Yeah, that'd be
That's what
beautiful.
music.
Yeah. And for people who maybe physically can't get to the building, would it be a nice opportunity for them to participate spiritually?
So
Yeah,
coming up in
we'll be
June.
giving out flyers for the 16th that night. We're going
Oh,
to
sure.
encourage people to return, and that's kind of part of the the catch too. Like come join us again, come back. Well, we really want people to walk the procession, and in the end, that's the important thing: Mass and the procession. If you want to stay afterwards and enjoy the music and buy some sausage and pepper, that's fine. We'd appreciate that, but that's not for us the goal. The goal is devotion. So.
And that was for the July 16th.
July 16th.
Correct. I mean, they can come any of those nights. The church is open. There's candle racks in front of the Blessed Among People. That's a big thing to do. Just come and light your candle, and pray and make your visit, Some people can't make it the 16th. So where the church is open, the statue is there, and people can come in and pray and pay their respects and ask for her intercession, etc. And, if they could come the 16th, that would be ideal. But if they can't, well, that week would be nice. Come and
There are
do a
lots
little-
of
do a little
opportunities.
visit.
Yeah, there's food, there's games, rides, and it's all leading up. Fireworks, yeah, everything.
Society side of this, where's their poster, Feast Week? They have a lot of stuff going on. So let me quickly, yeah, 2 nights of fireworks. There's food all over the place on our church parking lot, and their booths and everything in between. They're raffling a car. There's at least 3 bandstands, right? They have 2 over there. We have one. And the full carnival is running. They have the Museums of America. They've been coming for what? 60, 70 years, late 50s. Yeah, they've been coming. So they're celebrating that big anniversary with the Mount Carmel Society. I think there's going to be a drone show one night.
That looks like, I think in the article it said July 13th. Is that right? At 8:30?
Let me see here.
And...
Oh, yes, there it is on the poster. July 13th. There's a special spaghetti dinner from 1 to 7. Then there's something they started here in Hammonton called the running of the sandwiches.
The running of the sandwiches.
Yeah, whatever. That's going to be the Sons of Italy. But the drone show and fireworks, it's the first round of fireworks. It's going to be on July 13th, which I believe is Sunday night, like a kickoff. And that's going to be at 8:30 at the Hammonton High School. I think that's drones and fireworks combined thing, yeah.
So it's a real family event. Like all ages this is good for. Well, that's great.
I mean, there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice week here. I mean, this is some part of people's vacation. To come to that, And we're advertising. I kind of went overboard with the advertising, but we're going to have an electronic. When you cross the Waltman Bridge, there's a digital board. Well, we're going to be on one of those.
Well, we'll give people a shortcut to find out more information. The website, olmc150.com, is one place that they can get more information. Is there another site or resource where people should be looking?
So, yeah, there should be a splash page that has a link to both of us. And that, I think, is the one that might be in the Star Herald.
So go to the Catholic Heart Star Herald.
Jennifer, what's the link that we have on our Star Herald banner down there?
Oh.
Right now. There's like a general splash page that has a link that you could either go to the Parish information or to the society information.
Okay, so they're two separate pages for the different events. leading
Yes,
up.
there are two different websites. I mean, people confuse the one and the other, and we try to be very careful and about, letting people know that Mount Carmel Society, this is their information, this is the parish information,
Yeah.
And so anyway, you can go to our website. If you go to our parish website, will pop up is a splash page anyway, and you'll see links right there to both parish and to Mount Carmel Society information.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to smmcp.net, that's the parish website.
Okay.
That's the one that's on the Catholic Star Herald as well.
Right. Well, what happens is a little pop-up will show up. It says 150 years, and there's a QR code at the bottom of that. You'll see Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society, and above that, the parish's link. So they could, go to either one.
Oh, perfect.
And they could find information to both.
Great. Well, we only have about a minute left. Is there anything that you want to add about everything that maybe we didn't ask or?
I think it's all pretty well advertised out there, and certainly Catholic Radio is invited to come down.
There is a parish fund that we are promoting to help offset some of the costs that we're incurring this year. That's unique. Like I said, the music compositions, the inviting of the choir, chalice, crown, vestments. So on our parish website, there is a link to that fund, and if anybody would like to make a little contribution, that'd be nice. We invite people to walk with one of the saints in the procession. There'll be a place on the website where you could, see the list of the saints and pick a saint to walk with, and come light a candle.
That's beautiful. And to participate spiritually, even if you can't be there, I noticed on your website you also have a link to pray the novena, which begins on July
Correct.
7th.
Oh, yeah, we have a solemn novena. I totally forgot to mention that. We invited 3 priests, Father Anthony Manapella, Father Jeff Kirby, and Father Joseph Corolla, each to preach 3 different nights of the solemn novena.
Lovely.
And that information is on the website.
Great.
Excellent.
Well, thank you so much, Father Rivera and Nicholas, for being with us today. We really appreciate you coming on the show. And, maybe we should take it on the road and do a show from the festival.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Yes. Why don't we end with a Hail Mary?
Oh,
I'd
I
love
love
that.
it.
Yes.
Full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death.
Amen. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for having us.
all right, take care.
Have a great day.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us for this episode.
More
we
good
know-
things to come.
We know where Emily will be on her anniversary. And, we've had a lot of good information today. So, go down to Hammonton, check it out on July 16th, but go down a few days earlier and enjoy, so much more, the food and the rides and more spirituality even. So
Can't wait to celebrate.
everybody, have a great week and thanks for tuning in.